thanks for joining us, everybody. Man, we appreciate you guys following us. You know, it means a lot to us, and you know, all we're trying to do is, if there's something we can say out there that helps somebody out, that's all we want to do. And if you don't like it, just exit out of it. But we appreciate it. You know, this weekend we may be heading to Colorado Springs to watch the Supercross race. We haven't decided yet, but I know a lot of you guys are getting prepared for the Supercross season, and you're getting your Supercross package put together on your bikes and getting geared up for that, nailing all your sponsors down. There's a lot that goes into racing. You guys have been racing all summer long, so your cardio and your fitness and nutrition is probably already on point, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about this thing here, this helmet. You know, it goes on our head for a reason. We invest a lot of money in protecting our head. We invest a lot of money in looking at different helmets, and there's a reason for that, and that's because our head is so valuable. It's so critical, you know, that we have good protection. You know, I want to take that a step further and ask you, have you ever thought about protecting what's inside of this through your thinking? And you're going to hear, anytime Faith Culture does a video or we do a video, my wife or I, we're always going to talk about thinking, because it's the key to overcoming in life. Okay, you know, we all come from different areas. We all come from different, we all have different histories. Some of us have had tragedy in our life, and heaven forbid that any of us have to deal with that. But we've all had different hurts in our life too, whether it be, you know, losing a parent, to just different struggles in life. You know, whether maybe you got injured and you missed a few seasons of racing. Maybe you feel like your timer's ticking. You know, you're getting older and you haven't accomplished those goals that you want to accomplish. Maybe you've had aspirations of chasing some nationals, and you just haven't done it yet. This is for you guys. And again, anything we talk about, it translates into everything: relationships, life, just everyday life, you know. So again, I want to point out, this helmet that you see every rider wear at a race is protecting their head, and we put a lot of time and effort into that. We never go riding without this. I know when I was growing up, you know, one of the rules to riding was I better never get caught not wearing a helmet. I started riding probably when I was about 5 years old, and back in those days it was open face helmets, and my dad always believed in bell helmets. I always had an open face bell helmet, but somewhere along the way the Moto 3 came out, so I got one of those for Christmas one year and was just totally stoked about it. But I was never to ride without a helmet. And to this day I teach that to my kids that ride. It's just so important. But what we're talking about is just as important, if not more, and that's what this is protecting, and that's your mind. You know, we live in a physical body. You know, we have a brain, but we're talking about the soul. We're talking about your heart, your mind, you know, where your thinking takes place, where you win and lose battles. Because every day we have a battle. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter whether it's me or a professional motocross racer. We all have battles. It can be anything from finances to racing to confidence issues. You know, confidence is a huge one, especially when it comes to racing, especially as you begin moving your way up. Well, really at any level. Because it takes confidence, it takes commitment. You know, confidence and commitment are two things that, you know, when you think of racing, you can't talk about it without mentioning those two items. But what creates confidence, and what creates the ability to have that commitment? It all It all stems from what goes on inside of this. You know, yesterday we talked a little bit about, you know, the power of thinking and not letting things get to us. You know, if somebody says something to us or hurts us, you know, people are hurtful. That's just the way the world is. The world's cruel, but there's more than just people hurting us. There's another source out there that gets in our mind. But a lot of times, it's us. We're in our own way, you know. A lot of times we can correct these things, and you know, we can't seem to get them behind us. We have a past, right? But we need to learn from that past, so we correct it and not carry it over into our future. But a lot of times we just keep carrying these things over into our future, and then wondering why. You know, we got a new sponsorship, we got a new bike, things are going good there, but we're still coming up short, and we're still getting up out of bed every day, and we still have the same struggles. And that's what I want to talk about. Let me grab my clipboard here. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today. You know, yesterday when I was talking, the locusts were loud. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they would come and go. Today I'm hearing birds without the locusts, so it's pretty nice, but it's nature, so I ain't gonna complain. But one of the things I want to talk about, you know, growing up racing, you know, I had those seasons where I just didn't have that passion that I had the year before. And I want to talk about that. There's probably a lot of you out there, and if I'm talking to you, we can get through that. You know, one of the things I want to bring up is focus. You know, not everybody's a hunter, not everybody's looked through a rifle scope, but a lot of you have looked through a set of binoculars, perhaps a telescope. And so when I talk about a bullseye, you know what I'm talking about. For that rider that, you know, that dominated a few years ago, or dominated last year, and this year it just seems like everybody's kind of pulling ahead of you. Not necessarily pulling ahead of you, but you just don't have those gains that you're looking for, you know? And life can be like that. You can have those seasons where you're just happy and joyful and peaceful, and everything seems to be clicking, and then all of a sudden it feels like the world's against you. There's a lot of different reasons things happen to us as individuals that kind of tear away at our fabric, that tear away at our foundation. And the foundation is really having that foundation of focusing on truth is what will dictate the outcome of your life, will push you through those tough times. So anything can take us out of focus. Something could have happened. Could be a number of things. You know, we could have lost our mechanic, or maybe he moved out of the state, or maybe a best friend that was helping us out that really encouraged us, and we just don't have that inspiration anymore, and we're really struggling. The other thing too that I'd like to mention is, you know, I remember when I was getting into high school, I had a lot of distractions. And so I think distractions is a huge thing amongst anything. Could be marriage, could be relationships, could be getting along with people. You're racing, distractions is a huge problem. You know, maybe you're at that age where you're getting ready to go to college, you're out of high school, and you're not sure what you want to do, you know, and all of a sudden you got this new friend base, and none of them are motocross racers. That's what I always dealt with. And so you're caught between going and doing things that people do. Not everybody motocross races, it's a small percentage. And those begin to be distractions to you. Even though you know, you may be a great rider, it becomes a distraction to you. So that, as we grow up, we have that passion, right? I mean, I remember I couldn't wait to wake up and go get on my dirt bike. I'd ride that thing till it was out of fuel. And we carry that passion up through our racing career. And then we get to that point that things just change, and we got to ask ourselves, do we want to race? And if we want to race, we need to race with passion. Because if you're not going to race with passion, other than going out and having fun and turning laps, I don't know why you're going to invest all that time and money to do it. So when you race with passion, and if you don't have that passion, get it back. And I want to talk about that. It all happens inside this helmet. It all happens up here. You may be working on your cardio and your nutrition and muscles, but if you don't get this mind thing down, you'll never reach those goals that you may have set for yourself. Or you may never be the best you can be. You may not reach your goal. But if you go out and be the best you can be, at the end of the day, you should feel good about yourself. So again, we talk about this cross arrow. You know, when you look through a set of binoculars, what do? You focus on it, right? Or maybe a camera, you focus, because things are blurry. Well, when we get out of focus in life, that's what happens. But why do we get out of focus? We get out of focus for a lot of reasons. We have senses. We got smell. We have our eyes. We have our ears. You know, we have our touch. Any one of those senses brings in data into our mind. Okay, that generates that thought I was talking about yesterday. You may see something. Something may happen to you. You may have heard somebody talking bad about you. Whatever the case is, but it brings it in and it generates a thought, which generates an emotion, right? Okay, that thought that just comes into our mind, we can't always control. But what we can control is how we respond or how we react to it. And that is key. Especially if you want to ride at that level that you've set your goals for. This is super key. So we have this focus issue, and we draw in our focus to get a clear image. But that focus can go out of focus by what we're thinking about, by those different things I've mentioned. So if you think about that, if you think about looking through a telescope, say you're looking at a planet. I like looking at planets, but say you're looking through a set of binoculars at a bird, or maybe you're focusing on a rider out there on the track. If you move just a little bit, you're way off, right? Have you ever noticed that? So you may be looking through a set of binoculars here, and here's your subject right here you're looking at. You're right here. Okay? You're focused in on him right here, or her. If you move, if you change your focus a little bit, and that focus could be, that change in focus is how we think. Something's happened to us. If you change your focus just a little bit, look, that's not much. Look how much that is here. I don't know if you can see that. Look at the distance. Look at the distance from here to here. The distance from here to here. It's not much, right? But check this out. Look at the distance from here to here. Look how far off course you are. That's how far off course you can become in life. That's how far off course you can become in your racing or anything that you do in life. This is how far off course you can become with your goals, reaching your goals. Look how little the change was right here. I don't know if you can see that. The change down here was small. It doesn't take much. All it takes is something happening to you in life. All it takes is somebody treating you poorly. All it takes, it could be anything. But how do we control this focus and get it back? We control that by what we think about. But we have to have a foundation of trust and truth. If you're running around with people that don't have that same foundation, and you're getting advice from them or inspiration from them, you could be going down the wrong path. You could be actually getting further off course. So we have to come back to what is true. What is true is you were born a winner. You didn't start developing a life of defeat and getting out of bed and just existing because that's how you were born. You actually created it. Sure, things have happened to you. Sure, people have hurt you and said bad things. Sure, maybe things have happened in your past. But you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive others. You know, nobody can hurt you unless you let them. But if you've never done those things, if you've continued to let people hurt you, or you've compared yourself to what you think you should be compared to this person, all of those things are going to hurt you. Again, I ask you, what are you thinking about right now? You're watching this video, you're hearing me talk. Are you focusing? Or are you thinking about, are you off distracted? Well, if you're thinking about something else, you're not focusing. So all of these things contribute to this. But we have to get back to asking ourselves, what are we thinking about? You know, when you roll up to the gate and you know when you're thinking off, right? You know when you're thinking about things, you're not focused. You have to constantly speak to yourself and get back in focus. You know, if you did something the night before you're ashamed of, you have got to forgive yourself. If you don't forgive yourself, you'll never be in focus. And you'll never reach that pinnacle that you want to reach. And you'll always wake up, you'll always carry that defeated feeling with you. So that is important, is that focus. But again, look how far off course we can get just by think of this as our choice in thoughts. As I mentioned yesterday about going to the airport, you cannot get through security unless you're checked, right? Well, we have to check every thought. And if we don't do that right here, we can get off course in our thinking. And depending on what level you are in racing, you know, if you're a privateer out there chasing nationals, I cannot tell you how important this is. Not only are you up against the fastest bikes in the world with riders that have the best fitness and training, but if you're off focus and you're out of focus, oh man, good luck. That focus is key. So again, what goes on inside this helmet is critical. And in the coming days, we're going to talk about that. How do we overcome those negative thoughts? How do we get over something, a tragedy that's maybe that still lingers in our mind? And you know, last year we were kicking butt and we were improving, and this year we just don't seem to be quite pushing it as hard as we once did. You know, our passion's there, but our passion isn't there like it was. And that happens in life with everything, and we get out of focus, and we gotta reclaim that, you know, and it's possible. You know, it starts with your foundation. It starts with believing truth. It starts with forgiveness. It starts with believing in yourself, getting that confidence back, learning to refocus on what we're doing, and doing it, applying it. But you know, these battles that we have are invisible. Yeah, people can hurt us, but really the battle is up here in our mind. The battle's up here, it's invisible. People don't see it, but we all struggle with things. We've got to get past that and learn how to go to battle. You got to be a warrior and go to battle. I can't stress that enough. If you do nothing, you're gonna walk in defeat and live the rest of your life saying I shoulda, woulda, coulda. That sucks.